everybody, my name is Leo. In today's video we're gonna do a comparison of three great overdrive pedals that are the KLON KTR, the Waza BD2W Blues Overdriver, and finally the Tube Screamer TACE08, the Tube Screamer Reissue. Let's start with a brief description of these three pedals. First of all, the KLON KTR. Well, its father, the KLON Centaur, was released in 1994 and was one of the first boutique overdrive pedals on the market. It was hand-built by its creator, Bill Finnegan, crafted with premium and carefully selected parts. There was no dealer network available to purchase a KLON, and as the demand grew, it became heavily backordered. Finnegan refused to change production methods, and so the price grew up. Actually, an impatient buyer could even have paid thousands of dollars in order to have one of them. As regards the sound characteristics of the pedal, the KLON Centaur was marketed as providing an overdrive tone that complemented the guitar and amp it was used with. The KLON is essentially neutral, with a smaller mid-range curve that help guitarists to cut through the mix for lead guitar playing, and in my opinion this also results from the demo song at the beginning of the video. After a production run of approximately 8,000 KLON units tested and built by Finnegan himself, in 2009 Finnegan ended the production. At the time he started a design project with the goal of producing a pedal that could be more easily produced. And in 2012, the KLON KTR was born. The KTR is essentially a KLON Centaur built into a smaller enclosure, a standard 9V DC jack, a toggle for choosing between buffered or true bypass, and the same diodes used in the original Centaur. And this is very important because the specific tone of the Centaur is related to its specific diodes. In fact, in previous interviews, Finnegan has attributed much of the unique qualities of the KLON to a very specific diodes, actually a germanium diode, that he spent a great deal of time testing. That same batch of diodes, no longer produced according to him, are used in the Centaur and are the same as the original KTR. Actually, I've never tested a real original KLON Centaur, but for what I've read in the web, most of the guitarists agree that the KTR is almost identical to the original Centaur. The original Blues driver came out in 1995 when Boss realized that blues music was about to make a comeback. Given the Boss' past success with this pedal and the continued demand for it, it was a natural choice the inclusion of this pedal in the company's new lineup of premier pedal design under the Boss Waza Craft banner. Under the hood, the BD2W includes all analog circuit that both retains and refines the distinctive responsiveness and clarity of the original pedal. The Waza version includes also a switch that toggles between classic and custom modes. I was using custom mode in the video at the beginning of the video, where the custom mode gives to the original tone a fuller body and deeper sustain. If I had to choose an objective for the BD2, I would choose clarity. In my opinion, it adds a lot more clarity to your tone. And now, last but not least, the Tube Screamer Reissue TS808. The first Tube Screamer, the TS808, was released in the late 70s and is arguably the most beloved of the overdrive pedals. It's been used by guitar greats and divers as Eric Johnson or Brett Paisley, and maybe no single pedal has had a greater impact on music expression. The essence of the Tube Screamer's appeal is its interaction with a tube amp. As you increase the amplitude of an input signal to overload a tube amp preamps, it distorts the signal in a way that adds sustain, edge and harmonic liveliness, preserving the innate tonal characteristic of the guitar and the amp, preserving the player dynamic. Starting from 1982, Ibanez produced a lot of TS-808 successors, like the TS-9. Finally, fortunately, in early 2004, Ibanez reissued the TS-808 due to popular demand. It does have the same correct JRC 455AD op-amp and output resistor of the original one, and so it is a finally good recreation of the original TS-808. But now let's describe this pedal in details, and then we will hear some more sound. As regards the description, the KLON has 3 knobs: gain, tone, volume. The DC power is 9 volt, and it has also the battery, but is not easy accessible. As regards the size, the width is 110 mm, the height is 53 mm, and the depth is 126 mm. Its weight is 420 grams. As regards the blues driver, it also has 3 knobs: gain, tone, and volume, a 9 volt DC power and 18 mA, and the battery is easy accessible. Its size is width 73 mm, height 59 mm, depth 129 mm. Its weight is 430 grams. Last but not least, tube screamer, 3 knobs, gain, tone, volume, DC 9 volt, and battery easy accessible. Size, width 70 mm, height 55 mm, depth 125 mm. Its weight is 500 grams. So basically the tube screamer is the one with the highest weight, and as regards the size, the KLON is the biggest one because of its width, that is 110 mm. Final note is that the switcher of the tube screamer, I mean the switch by which you turn on and off the effect, is the less comfortable, the less sturdier. Welcome to the more sound section of this video. As always, first of all, the signal chain. I have my third classic antique S that is then going Polytune 3 buffered, that then is going to Electro-Harmonics parallel mixer, to which are connected the 3 pedals. In the first channel the KLON, in the second channel the blues driver, and in the third channel the tube screamer. And I can select each of them, switching on and off the relevant channel. And I can even switch all of them together. This is a very nice option offered by the parallel mixer. Then the Marshall JCM 800 with the following settings. Then as a cabinet I'm using a Creamback mic'd with an SM57 with a preamp that is an API 512 that is then going in a Lynx Aurora converter and then in the computer. How I have set this pedal? The gain is to its maximum level, the tone is at none, and the volume is set in order to have the same volume for all these 3 pedals. Another thing to mention is that the blues driver is set in the custom position and not in the standard one, so it has a much more modern sound. Let's start with the amp alone, and then I will switch on the KLON, the blues driver, and then the tube screamer. Amp alone, KLON, blues driver, tube screamer. KLON, Now let's test the dynamic. KLON. As you may have noticed, the level knob of the three pedal is set very differently, even though they offer the same volume. So it means that the excursion is different between the three pedals. For instance, the Tube Screamer has the level almost to 2 PM. The Waza have the level almost to 11, and the KLON has the level to 9. So this means that the Tube Screamer is the pedal that offers less volume, the Blues Driver is in the middle, and the KLON offers more volume against the other. Let's try. Screamer is the one they offer less volume in comparison with the other two, and actually I have to say that the Tube Screamer is even the nicer one at highest level, because the other two really distort the signal too much in my opinion. Now let's play with the tone. Blues Driver. Let's try all of them to their maximum level. Tube Screamer. Blues Driver. KLON. Here they are really different. Actually, I think that the one that has the most articulated tone knob is the KLON, because when you raise it to its maximum level, it even really increases the level of distortion you have. Like a real amp, for instance, if in a Marshall you crank all the way up the treble knob, you are even obtaining more gain. So here are my final considerations about these pedals. You know, tone is a subjective thing, but if I had to choose some adjectives to describe this pedal, I would choose the following. KLON, transparency, creamy. Boss, clarity. Ibanez TS808, I would choose warmth, vintage, smooth. As regards gain, the most gainy is the KLON, then we have the Waza, and the last gainy is for sure the Tube Screamer. And if I have to choose only one of them, I would actually choose the KLON KTR, because it provides a unique combination between transparency and gain. It is the most gain, but even the most transparent. So this is the reason why I prefer it against the others. So we reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. It would be of great help. And if you're interested in my music, please check out a link in the description below to a playlist of songs of mine. So thank you once more, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.